That is entirely the wrong screen. What is going on? Why are you on the wrong screen? You have one job, Streamlabs. One job. There we go. Now it's right. Hi, guys. Not sure why everything is not working. And of course, now suddenly my microphone is actually at the proper volume, so I need to turn it down because, everything, that's how everything tends to go with these streams, I guess. Isn't that just wonderful? Let's move you out of the frame a little. Come on, get over there. What are you doing? Way too close to my face. I should actually probably just move it back over a ways on the rear end. Anyway, I had to change up the setup because I got a new PC. There's now an entire PC tower beneath me, as anybody who watched last week's Wednesday stream knows. But I hope everybody's having a good weekend. Had a good weekend, is having a good week, had a good Thanksgiving. I spent entirely too much money over the last several days, so I'm glad you're here. But today, I know the thumbnail says smiley face killers and all that. We are going to talk about that, but we're also just going to look at some other, general unsolved mystery stuff. I have developed a theory about the smiley face killers, and that's what I wanted to talk about. So first, though, I thought, maybe I'll pull up something that we can kind of react to. So I have something from Nick Crowley here, where he goes over some of it. Wanted to look at that because the big one for me is this last bit down here, the inconsistencies with drowning. These are alleged drowning incidents that almost always involve white men who are athletic, intelligent, generally pretty popular. This sort of demographic that you would consider to be, sometimes jocks, I guess. Obviously, jocks never really had a reputation for being the intelligent group of people in school, but point is, what you're looking at is people who otherwise are kind of surprising victims. There's generally no motive for why these people might have been killed. And while I think motive is an incredibly important aspect when you're diagnosing any sort of event especially as a murder, I don't think that the lack of a directly apparent motive is necessarily a problem here, because I don't think that these individuals are necessarily the targets themselves so much as they may in fact be proxies. That these may be people who are killed not because of who they are or what they did, but because they look like or they have the same social status as somebody else. I also think that it's possible that this is a more organized thing, but there's a large number of factors going into this that paint it as the least likely outcome is that these were accidental drownings. Now, in some cases, I do think they, in fact, were probably accidental drownings. There's a few that we've looked into. I'm looking into the case of Luke Homan this week, and that's one of those ones that I'm like, this could very well just have been an accident. But I also, there's other aspects of the case that cause me to question that, like the boot print that seems to be on his head. Interestingly enough, as opposed to missing 411, I mean, if I go here, I have this one, but if I go and I look up, missing 411, that's funny. I am kind of becoming immune to horror. But if I look up missing 411, we just get cascaded, just so many videos on it. And I mean, this one guy just keeps showing up. I mean, what's up with that? Like, look at this dude with his flannel and his spiky hair. What's he doing all over the place here? Well, that's silly. Rude, peanut gallery. But yeah, so that is kind of funny. I mean, I know I subscribe to myself, but it is kind of cool to see myself coming up so consistently as missing 411 stuff, especially next to Politis and Baldwin. That's kind of nice. That makes me feel good about myself. But anyway, you look that up and you get tons of YouTube content. We go over here and we look up smiley face killers. We get a much smaller selection. They're still here, but what you notice is that it's almost entirely broad. You're looking at, all right, well, what are the smiley face killers? You know, let's look at several cases on the smiley face killers. What you don't see is much in the way of individual cases. And even if you do look them up, like if we look up, oh my God, sometimes Google really just does not like to do this. Tommy Booth disappearance, for example. It's all corporate. It is entirely corporate, except for, you know, one guy right here. And if you'll notice, let's, you know, for example, this is Crimson. I don't know who this is, but probably a smaller channel based on the view count. Yeah. But if you look at who it is Dakota James is a one that they cover on the TV show. Tommy Booth they cover on the TV show. Lucas Homan, Todd Guy, Will Hurley. In fact, I think all of these in this section here, these are all covered in the TV show. So most likely these people are using the TV show as their sole source. Now, of course, if we look at the, you know, the time on this, and then we go to, this is not me talking down on the guy, because he's clearly much smaller and probably doesn't have the kind of time I have. But if we look up Todd Geib, for example, this video is 4 years old, is 330K, it's 35 minutes long. Ours is 50 minutes long. There's very little else in the way of that. You see a lot of very short videos, not much in the way of full-length documentary-style stuff. So I think that we've maybe hit something here where there's interest, but there's not a ton of content that already exists. So I think that's very interesting. And Kellen said, did you mean the stream where you were trying to give me a heart attack with drinks on work table, cutting yourself and no ESD protection? Yes. And guess what? It runs like a dream. I can run Starfield and Call of Duty on ultra graphics. I haven't tried doing that while streaming. We'll find out this week. When we do, obviously, probably Call of Duty on Friday. Although, what's this Friday? It's, oh my God. We're definitely going to be doing a Call of Duty stream next Friday, because that is when Warzone will be out. But yeah, so I wanted to pull this up, and I wanted to kind of quickly go through it. I want to see how Nick Crowley covers it, because again, lots of subscribers. Let's take a look at his. So far, this interesting. So here's what I do find interesting is, if we go and we look into the Smiley Face Killer's murder theory, a lot of these say since like 1997. Some of them are earlier, and I think that I think the prevalence of the internet may be why they kind of start those in the 1990s. We'll see. I have thoughts, but you know, I kind of wanted to go through this and see how it goes. This is
Police said that after a night of drinking, he wandered to the Port of Albany, fell into the Hudson, and drowned. There are some new developments which could lead to murder charges.
Who disappeared after a night out with friends downtown. The ME says he accidentally drowned. Body was found in the Ohio River near Neville Island back in March, ending a 6-week search.
The FBI now involved in the desperate search for a missing 21-year-old college student from Pennsylvania.
So it's taking a little while to get started here. I was hoping it would be faster. I obviously don't watch these before I react to them, because that would kind of get rid of the point. I guess, you know, instead of doing a reaction one to get started with this one, here's what I'm going to do. The Smiley Face Killer's theory posits that about 45 cases, also thank you, Quattro, about 45 cases across, if you look on Wikipedia, it's going to say the Midwest. The TV show, however, covers a lot more than the Midwest because, and this caught me off guard, there is one that is kind of my hometown. It's not Phoenixville, it's Ridley Creek, it's Swarthmore area. So Aiden and I are going to cover that one soon, but not until we have the time to really like drive down there and shoot on site, because we can. There's one in Pittsburgh as well, which is 4 hours away, and we're going to be there in December. So we're going to cover a couple of local ones. But the general theory here is that these young college-aged men who are athletic, they are popular, they are intelligent, oftentimes they are, some of the time they're in very stable, happy relationships. They disappear after a night of drinking, and then they unexpectedly turn up in the water. They've drowned. Except in a large number of the cases I've looked at so far, which is a small number of cases total, they didn't drown. There's no water in their lungs. And now, in about 20% of drowning cases, you can have it that there is not actually water found in the lungs. However, people who drown in large open bodies of water almost exclusively will have water in their lungs. This means ponds, rivers, lakes, even oceans. But in this case, I don't think there's any that involve the ocean quite yet. Most of them are centered around the Midwest, but a weird number of them are not. You've got Boston, you have Philadelphia. There was one in New York as well. Yeah. So you've got them kind of spreading across the entire Northeast United States. That is far too wide, in my opinion, for a serial killer. The timing does not line up. If it were a serial killer, it would have to be somebody who really knows all of these cities. One was in Chicago. One was in Chicago, and basically that person would have had to know the city pretty well in order to have it happen. Another one was in Boston, and would have had to know the city pretty well to put the body where they did. Just some weird inconsistencies in how these stories line up, and then you've got all of these police reports that say, oh, well, the person accidentally drowned because they were just hammered, they were blacked out. 0.084 is not blacked out. Even 0.1 or 0.12 is not blacked out. These are drunk, but these are not people who are drinking to excess and then walking around while they're totally stumbling about. In a lot of the cases, they have GHB, which is one of the better known date rape drugs. It's also endogenous to a point of I think 10 nanograms. I might have that specific number wrong, but it's 10 something. These are not people who are getting too drunk and falling into the river. If they were getting too drunk and falling into the river, they'd have much higher blood alcohol content and they'd have water in their lungs. Instead, they've got traces of date rape drugs. They have witnesses who say they really didn't drink that much, 2, maybe 3 drinks over the course of the night. And some of them have physical injuries that really don't line up with accidentally drowning. In the case of Todd Geib, it was weird that he had no physical injuries, but he also had no water in his lungs. In the case of, what was the name? Luke Homan, he appears to have a boot toe print on his forehead. I think these are murders, but I think people are looking to the wrong source. And this is kind of how we're going to do our investigation as we go through this. This is probably going to take us about a year, just like the Missing 411 stuff, which kind of culminated with that, is something supernatural responsible for Missing 411 video. We're going to do the same thing with smiley face killers. But as I'm looking into these more and more, the thing that strikes me is that a lot of these guys probably never hurt anybody. They have great reputations. Now, that does not mean that they can't have actually quietly been monsters, but they've got good reputations, they have no known enemies, and yet it seems like they're being murdered. And when you look at murders, a lot of people point to, crimes of passion or premeditated, things like jealousy. They often point to, the fact that men make up the majority of murderers. I don't think that these are the targets. I don't think these are premeditated crimes. Or if they are premeditated crimes, I don't think that they're being committed because the specific person wronged the perpetrator. I think these may be proxy killings. and specifically, I think the people doing it are probably female. And that's because, well, yes, the boot, but there's traces of drugs. A lot of the times, these guys seem like they may have been poisoned, and typically, poison is a method of murder that is more employed by women than men. A lot more employed by women than men. Men typically will use violent means. They will beat somebody. They will shoot somebody. They will, stab you. Women, on the other hand, are more likely to use methods that don't require them physically overpowering somebody. Archie, what is going on, dude? That might be it. Do you want to go outside? Okay. Is this about the food? It's about the food. You little mongrel. You have already eaten today. Look at this.
Archie, it's about the food.
It is entirely about the food. No. Here. How's this? You know what? You want it? Take it.
Ella's man get treats.
You can give her a treat. I think that's fair since he got chicken or turkey. Yeah. All right, that's all I had. That was it. See? No more. No mas. Come here. Come say hi. Ow. He was very excited about that. Come say hi to the people. Sit here. Just give him a little wave. Ridiculous animal. Ridiculous. Okay. Gonna put you down. So what I'm looking at for this is I think that what we're dealing with is probably college-aged or mid-20s women who are getting back at men who have wronged them by getting rid of men who were like them. It also, on the other hand, could be something that men are doing, but the specific kind of men might be what you might use the word incel, but in general, sort of men who struggle with self-image, who see themselves as lesser, who are insecure, and therefore take that out on men who they view as being, who they wish they were, like people who don't deserve everything they have. Those are kind of my two leading theories at the moment. I also think that there are other possibilities. Like I said, I've looked into one of these cases in depth. I'm getting into the second one, and we're going to see how it goes. There was something else I was going to say, and I completely forgot what it was. Oh, well, speaking of my girlfriend, she and I, thankfully, I now have women's shoes in the house. So when I was looking at the Luke Homan case, one thing that the investigators, realized, but that I don't think they went the extra step on, was that there was a boot print on Luke Homan's forehead. Let me see if I can pull it up for you. Boot print on Luke Homan's forehead. Here we go. This right here. I can just, I mean, are the boots near me? Yeah, here's one. Yeah, this is the left one, and the one in the picture is the right, but take a look at how big this sole is on my forehead. Yeah, thank you. Big, covers most of my head. Whereas, Amanda's going to get one of her boots now.
You're not getting any food, Archie.
Aha! Now, does that not fit better? This is either a man with extraordinarily small feet, or more likely... Yeah. This is a size 6 boot. This is a size women's 6 boot. Like, I'm actually going to kind of laugh about it, because, like, look at the difference in size between these shoes. Like, the detectives, Anthony Duarte and Kevin Gannon, who I have respect for. I'm not at all trying to dig at them. I'm just saying maybe it didn't occur to them because they're looking for a masculine killer. I think that these are women. I think all of the evidence points to these being women. And probably women trying to get back at maybe frat boys who did bad things to them. Again, the internet can breed really, really crazy, awful decisions. It can make people do... You can find a community of almost any sort when you go online, especially on places like Tumblr and 4chan, which, you know, in my opinion, are kind of two sides of the same coin. But if you look at those sites and you look at some of the radicalization that can happen, you can have political radicalization, you can have religious radicalization. You might also see a form of radicalization where people are convinced that, well, yeah, other men didn't hurt me, but men do hurt people, so I'm going to get back at them. That is, you know, if it were to come from a female perspective, what I think it would likely be. If it were to come from, if this were men, then I think it would likely be a jealousy issue. So that's kind of where I'm sitting. Also, one of my viewers, Little Bit Lita, says cute boots.
Thanks, they're Steve Madden. They're probably still on sale.
She says they're Steve Madden and probably still on sale. Let me also take a look at, yeah, so that's the other thing is, pick these boots up again. Men's boot. And this is kind of an all-purpose, just outdoors work boot. Those are what I wear for camping and everything. This, on the other hand, kind of women's just out and about boot. Much more similar tread. So I want to look into it. Obviously, I don't know how I'm going to find a database of shoes. Amanda's going to help me find a database of shoes. It really strikes me as unfortunate that it is so much easier to find databases of feet than of shoes, but that is the world we live in today. This is the forehead a little bit more up close. So what was suggested is that these are in fact left by boot marks. So this is the toe of a boot, and that this scratch mark right here was probably a rock that was stuck in the boot. There's also another possibility, which is that he had this scratch on his forehead already. Again, it's a lot to go into right now. I wonder about this because that is a Penn State University hat right there. Why is the screen share being like that? Anyway, that's where I wanted to start the stream and just kind of talk about this whole smiley face killer thing, because I really do think it seems more like a crime of jealousy or a proxy crime than premeditated murders or gang stalking or anything like that. At first I was thinking gang initiation, but that was largely because of the smiley faces, and to be honest, the smiley faces just don't seem relevant to me. I understand that it's a good tagline, and I understand that it's maybe a good spot to start looking, but smiley faces are such a common graffiti mark that I don't think it would make sense to go all in on that. What was the other thing? Oh, also with Luke Homan, they found orange fluorescent material on his jacket, or on his sweatshirt, that could have been from a number of things, but two of the things were paint and nail polish. So I think nail polish is probably the more likely of the two.
Can you hold him while I give Ella dinner?
Come here, buddy. Come on. Come on. There we go. Good boy. Okay.
I just don't want
I know. No, not shout out to WikiFeet. Not shout out to WikiFeet.
I'll give you my feet.
Please don't. Let's see. None in the South that I know of. Midwest, maybe.
Stay.
Serious question, not homosexuals. Okay, yeah, no, these are, as far as I can tell, generally heterosexual men. And that's why I think it points to a proxy crime, or being motivated by some form of jealousy or just base prejudice, because they are almost exclusively average height to slightly above average height, athletic, young adult men who are intelligent, who are successful, who are well liked in the community, and who are generally white. It sounds like profiling to me. And that is kind of the demographic that is generally seen as having it the best, is young adult, successful, attractive white men.
People like you.
You're gonna get me killed.
I'll fight them.
You'll fight them?
Yeah.
Amanda, what can you bench?
No, 60.
65 pounds? And what does a man weigh? Mm-hmm. I appreciate it, though. I love you. I think you and Archie together might be able to break it up. And I'd say you, Archie, and Ella, but I think Ella would just kind of watch. Or possibly attack Archie. Huskies are not guard dogs. Yeah.
Not good guard.
No, they are not.
They're very bad.
Okay, I wanted to get rid of that guy. And then I was going to go snag. I had some more cases that I wanted to pull up. I want to talk about some of these unsolved mysteries. And just kind of cover that generally for the remainder of the stream, the usual reaction stuff. But first, I found this one, which I have yet to watch, but it's called Aiden Mattis is Not What He Seems and I Can Prove It. I think it's going to be a funny video, but I just want to see. It's a satire. Also, oh, I got it. What?
In the thing section, the guy was like,
yeah, he says, yeah. So I'm excited to take a look at this and see where it goes really quick. You know, I just thought it would be fun. I also found this, which says they are not aliens. Here's why. I'm intrigued because that's Michael Heiser. But also, every time we come across a YouTube pastor, it's just bonkers stuff. So we'll try and get to that maybe as well. But I wanted to watch through this one really quickly first and just see what they came up with.
Thank all of you. If anyone sent this short video over to the Lore Lodge Wendigo today. From Native American folklore, the Wendigo is a human who has turned cannibal.
So you just play the whole short?
Now, if that's the case, and they are humans, technically speaking, the Wendigoosie should taste like pork.
Yeah, I did respond to that video.
Because Aiden Mattis...
Oh, and Sean Randalls for 20, thank you very much, said, appreciate the work you do, Aiden. Thought you'd like to hear that I got my scaredy cat husband hooked on your videos despite his usual disinterest in true crime, missing persons, etc. Keep up the good work. Well, thank you. I'm glad that I can present it in a format that that gets people excited about it, even if it's not their usual kind of thing. You know, we never set out to be a true crime channel. We have generally avoided trying to be a true crime channel. But we've sort of allowed ourselves to do them as long as they're unsolved. So I think that's been helpful.
And Aiden Thornbury actually responded. This is insane. I was hoping, but I didn't actually think it would happen, you know? If you can't tell, I'm a huge fan. Okay,
This is fun.
check this out.
This is nice. This makes me feel very good about myself.
What a terrible day to have ears. Yes, Aiden's, it is. Now, I couldn't just let this potentially once-in-a-lifetime opportunity slide. That's right, Aiden Mattis. This theory is about you. I know your secret. A secret.
Also, everybody is agreeing that they are very cute boots.
What?
Everybody is agreeing that they are very cute boots.
I like them.
And some of them are talking about feet. It is a little quiet. I can boost it up for you guys.
That would obliterate the internet and the world as we know it. But before I get into that, make sure to like and subscribe. I have some plans that you do not want to miss. Also, Aiden, if you're watching this,
I am.
I can't wait for my NFL team to destroy yours in the playoffs. Your Eagles are good, I guess. But as an Ohioan, my allegiances lie with the Browns, who just overtook our rivals, the Steelers.
All right, I've seen a lot of wild conspiracy theories on the internet in my day, but the theory that the Browns are going to not only make it to the Super Bowl, but beat the Philadelphia Eagles is certainly up there. Considering that they can't even beat the allegations. Oh!
What?
Oh, Deshaun Watson was alleged of, like, sexually propositioning every massage therapist in Houston.
Okay.
Yeah. Can he get down? He wants to get down.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Let me
Yeah.
just put
another Pennsylvania team. Would you look at that? Margaret Thatcher may not be real,
What?
but the Browns' chances of winning the Super Bowl this year is. All right.
Margaret
Aiden
Thatcher may not be real. What is this?
Margaret Thatcher.
What?
I said, would you not like Margaret Thatcher? She that lady.
Why don't we like Margaret Thatcher?
Because she did bad things to the Scottish people.
She did a lot of bad things to socialists.
Cameron's dad indoctrinated me into hating Margaret Thatcher.
Yeah, that's okay. Is he
From fucking Scotland.
is he on the left?
No, he's from Scotland.
I know, but like politically, is he on the left?
Not particularly.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I can see it. Okay, you know what? Valid reason to dislike Margaret Thatcher then. I was gonna say, hating Scotland, not based. Hating communism, based as fuck. Like, don't worry. Here in the lodge, we hate all authoritarian ideologies equally.
And Aiden Thorne Bussy, this theory is for you. Specifically you, Mattis. But we need to start with their content
He hit the bussy so hard in Thorn Bussy.
first. So if you have not already done so,
Ella.
go check out the Lore Lodge. Satirical theories aside, they are great over there. I love their videos. Show them some love. While you're over there, you should comment on their most recent
I'm AI.
video. Something like, Bowtie Productions sent me, or the Wendigoosey tastes like pork. Something like that.
Still a terrible day to have ears.
Now,
Hang on a minute. That's my background.
I first discovered their channel when they covered David Politis'
Why is Mitch McConnell there?
Missing 411 series. For those that do not know, David Politis studied various cases of people going missing in the wilds of North America, and has written multiple books that he titled Missing 411.
That's true.
Each of these cases usually
The images keep changing. Why is handsome? You guys can't see it very well, but handsome Squidward, My Little Pony on the desk. Ah, there we go.
usually taking place in four
Also, I wonder if I know who this is, because if this guy's also on Twitter, I think I know who it might be.
forests specifically are uniquely weird in their own ways. I can try to cover some of these cases in detail if y'all want, but the Lore Lodge does a phenomenal job each time, so you should go watch them if you want all the nitty-gritty details. But here is a few examples to give you an idea of these cases.
I'm not asking questions about anything back here. I've just decided to ignore it. I remember when Aiden liked Missing 411 Instagram work. What? That was neat. Missing 411 Instagram work?
And I'll link the article I'm using in the description if you want to read some of these for yourself.
I do not have a picture of Mitch McConnell on my nightstand. I have a picture of Rand Paul on my nightstand.
He has both. Don't let him lie to you.
No, Mitch McConnell's the body pillow. Mitch McConnell's the body pillow.
All right. In 2014,
Oh, God. They can't even hear it. They can't hear it at all. That's that noise suppression. It's okay.
a man named James
I found the cabinet for him. I'm sorry.
You are so special. Can we try to not run the sink as much? Why did we decide to do this while I'm streaming?
Would you stream?
Oh my God.
McGrogan
Go read a book.
was on a snow. In 2014, a man named James McGrogan was on a snowboarding trip with his friends. Specifically, a split snowboarding trip, which is similar to cross-country skiing or hiking in snowshoes.
This
Now,
is all correct,
according to
actually.
this article, He came prepared with his cell phone, a GPS, and a backup battery for the GPS. James apparently was faster than his friends on the skis, so he told them he would wait for them at the next stop, and he went on ahead. And this was the last time his friends saw him alive. Search teams tried looking for him, but they failed to find any tracks.
I want to find the part where I get exposed.
James had removed his gloves and his near the trail as well. You see how this is weird? Here's another one.
What is Nigel and marmalade? I do not know what that is. Human heart in the salt pile. No, I have not heard of that either.
In 1952, a 2-year-old boy...
I do not have Dan Crenshaw bed sheets, but I actually do have a picture on my Instagram of me with Dan Crenshaw. It's back when he was kind of just like a cool Navy SEAL congressman with an eye patch instead of like a neocon warhawk, but it's okay.
A boy named Keith Parkins went missing from his Oregon home in the middle of winter. He had a jacket on 15 miles away once, and not just because the lore
Here we go.
odd. But there's one more I want to cover. Dennis Martin's disappearance is definitely one of the most popular ones, and not just because the Lore Lodge and Wendigoon covered this case together in person.
I was so fat a year ago. I was so fat a year ago.
Father's Day weekend, 1969. 6-year-old.
Do you guys see Rick Astley in the background here?
Dennis Martin was with his...
Like, I genuinely respect the amount of effort that goes into the little minute details of this video.
Family at Smoky Mountains National Park. They spent the night, and the next day, another father asked if the Martin kids wanted to play with his kids since they were about the same age. Mr. Martin allowed them, but he kept an eye on his kids while they were all playing hide
Trying
and
to
seek.
find the,
Dennis hid behind a tree, which his father... You see,
Here we go.
Aiden Mattis that this video cases, and now there are some potentially supernatural aspects to these cases, and now we are finally at the theory. My
You were merely filled out.
apologies that this video is a bit longer than my usual, but I felt that that information was important.
Oh, wait, that's so funny. That is so funny. Somebody commented on one of our really old videos the other day where at like 12 minutes in, I said the video was getting a little long, so we were going to try and wrap it up. We produce like an hour-long documentary every week now.
You see,
Oh, thank you,
Aiden
Ryan.
Mattis doesn't take everything David Paulides says at face value.
That's true.
In fact, on multiple occasions,
Why is Garfield's face blurred out? And why is Wendigoon not fitting properly into the frame? And Hans!
Aiden has presented evidence that disproves one or more of Paulides' points made. If you go watch the Lore Lodge's Missing 411 series, you'll see what I mean. Now, Aiden claims to do all of this research and claims to have issues with cops not providing case files
That's
when
true.
asked, but I think he's lying.
Oh!
Aiden Mattis doesn't need to do any research because he was there.
Oh.
Each and every time someone went missing, Aiden Mattis was present, watching, observing, just beyond the tree line. He is an ancient, immortal, formless forest being.
Oh god, Amanda, they're onto us. They know I'm an ancient, immortal forest being.
He just
Honestly, badass, I wish. What, am I like a Leshy or something?
plays up the bit about doing the research to spin a narrative, to protect his cover.
Wait, really quickly, just because since I did sort of endorse the idea that I'm an ancient forest spirit, I'll be right back. You have no idea what I'm doing.
I have a few ideas, Aiden.
You can have ideas. That's alright.
I have some hypotheses.
Have as many as you want.
I bet I'll be correct.
As many hypotheses and theories as you would like. But I had to make sure I put on the silver cross necklace that I have, that Amanda got me. To disprove any concerns that I am unable to wear a cross or touch silver. Also, I wish I had the axe, because that would just be cool to show off. The axe.
Where is it?
It's in the car.
It's cold outside.
Yeah, I'm not going to get it either. My father got me a Norse battle axe for my birthday because I am both very easy and very difficult to shop for in just very different ways.
Because if anyone found out the truth, it would shatter our understanding of the world as we know it. Need proof? I've got it.
What's the proof?
Take a look at his live streams.
Okay. Why would you step on Archie to start the show?
I didn't know he was there.
You stepped on Archie to start the show.
Did you catch it?
It's weird seeing me.
No? Alright, let's play another clip.
What are we doing here? Okay. Give me a moment because I want to make sure everything's working properly.
Still missed it?
I'm missing it every time.
One more.
I can show you guys the axe on Thursday. It's also probably going to start hanging in the studio on the wall behind me. I did forget to see it. Oh, good. The microphone is on.
Thank God.
Woo! Almost every single one of our podcasts really does start with some sort of problem. Go us. Hey. What is it? Oh, no audio. What did we do wrong this time? What happened here? What happened? What happened at the end? I need to know if I'm really exposed. You can't say that word! No, I didn't! I did not! And even if I did, he was.
You never make your TikTok yelling at Kevin.
I didn't because I know. I decided to be the bigger man. Okay, listen.
I'm proud of you.
The pharmacist at my local CVS, Kevin, is a bag of dicks. He was like, I only have one prescription in here for your Adderall. Not Adderall, it's Focalin. For your Focalin. And it's for December. And I was like, well, could you maybe look a little bit more? Because I have this here email from my psychiatrist that says you're wrong. And he was like, no, I'm not wrong, blah, 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 blah. So, this man who has a whole ass degree in pharmacy stuff, I don't know what kind of degree pharmacists get. It's a doctorate of some sort. It's a doctorate, right?
Sometimes just a master's.
Maybe a master's, yeah. Anyway, this is a highly educated man, and one of his, techs managed to go onto the computer and find that the issue was that one of them was dated incorrectly, like my birth date was wrong in the system. So, I was gonna call Kevin out on his nonsense and call him a jackass to his face, but, he was giving a vaccine to a very adorable little girl, so I decided not to do that. Ella! Okay, good. So it is a medical degree. All right, so this man has a whole ass medical degree and could not bother to check in the system. Let's see. Leshy Mattis confirmed. Where'd you send it? Where did you send Leshy Mattis? Is it Discord? Ah, wrong screen. I do not see Leshy Mattis confirmed. I just see human heart found while making brine at Tennessee salt facility.
Solid.
That is weird. Also, she sent me an image of that, which made me angry. Ella, I'm gonna need you to stop. But anyway, this was very funny. We've been exposed. Doctorate of Pharmacy. Okay, gotcha. Let's see. Also, yes, Kellen, I agree. Both of them. Isaiah's not actually that tall. I know that I give off 5'7" energy, but I am in fact 5'9". He's probably about 6 foot. His wife is much taller than me, and he and Thornbury both made fun of me for not being into women who are taller than me while we were in a hot tub last November. So,
Well, good thing you found me.
exactly. But yeah, so I grabbed some more videos in here, and the one I wanted to start with, actually, if I can find it, was I wanted to see Lazy Masquerade's coverage of Brandon Swanson. So we could look through that one. Alternatively, I have this one that says Unsolved Mysteries That Belong in the X-Files, which could also be more interesting. So it's kind of up to you guys. But Hive Tyrant said, hey, Aiden, didn't watch the Freddy video, so here's some money instead. Well, thank you. Also, do you know if the Catholics are still not allowed to be Masons? The Catholic Church says no, you cannot be Masons. The Masons say yes, Catholics can be Masons. So it depends. Technically, no, they're not allowed, but at the same time, we don't care. That's just kind of how it goes. Let's see. Wow, somebody else did a Blair Witch Project video basically the same time as we did. Weird. But yeah, so would you guys prefer Unsolved Mysteries That Belong in the X-Files? Or would you want to look at some other ones? Like, this one involves forests. And then, while you guys do that, I do really quickly want to go over Wartime Stories has this this video on Skinwalker encounters. I actually have a Knights of Columbus pin that I got from my grandfather. He was a third-degree Knight of Columbus.
The Navajo are a tribe of Native Americans whose earliest settlements lay in the southwestern United States, primarily in what are now the states of New Mexico, Utah, and Arizona.
It's pretty solid so
far. Along with
far.
their own ancient tribal war history, throughout the Pacific Island campaigns, Navajo men proudly fought alongside fellow Americans during the Second World War.
We're gonna speed him up a little bit.
Navajo code talkers and their unusual language was used to great effect for the encryption of American radio transmissions, which confounded the Japanese cryptologists who intercepted them.
Also true.
But the Navajo people also speak about things
X-Files? Okay.
Confound the rest of us. They tell stories about strange things that creep and crawl around the wild desert expanses and forests of the Americas. Legends which persist until the present day. One such popular Navajo legend is about evil witches.
What is Nigel and Marmalade, though? You still haven't answered the question. I don't know what it is.
Something that native people call Ye Natloshi.
Well, this is 1.25. You should not. Okay. That is the one thing you're not supposed to do. He's right, but the whole you're not supposed to say Skinwalker thing is kind of not true at all. You're really you're not supposed to say the Navajo word for it because that's what's supposed to allegedly attract it. Is its Navajo term, which does not mean Skinwalker. It means he goes on all fours. But yeah, I'm glad that this is actually pretty solid so far to say that they're evil witches rather than saying that they're monsters. Like, they are human beings. So, what is behind me? Oh, it's Archie.
Is about evil witches, something that native people call Ye Natloshi.
Yeah, you're not supposed to say that word.
With it, he goes on all fours. Skinwalkers.
20% up.
Such a creature is considered half person and half animal. It starts as a medicine man or woman who once used their powers of healing for good, but for some reason they turn to evil, to murder, and to eating the flesh of their human victims.
All right, so he's doing a much better job than really almost anyone I've ever come across. I'll admit I'm a little salty that he has more views, but it's fine. Yeah, so I have always heard that cannibalism was an aspect of this. However, in talking to several members of the Navajo community, they have harped on the fact, or the I don't know if I should say fact. They have harped on it that cannibalism is not necessarily part of what makes somebody a skinwalker. You might have a skinwalker who does practice cannibalism, but it seems like that itself might be a mix-up between Wendigo and skinwalker.
And so, they are cursed. They are believed to be immortal. The only way to destroy one is
let me see about the Nigel and Marmalade thing.
Kill them in their animal form.
That's not necessarily correct. What do you say?
To be immortal.
Yeah, no. That one's not accurate. You can kill them in both forms. They're actually supposed to be stronger in animal form than in human form, and you need to use specific kinds of weapons. A knife or bullet tipped in white ash, coated in white ash, I guess I should say. There we go. There's a Nigel and Marmalade thing. So I'll pull that guy up over here. You need to use a weapon coated in white ash, and that could be a wooden stake, that could be a tomahawk, that could be a knife, a sword, a gun. It doesn't matter, as long as the white ash is there, because that appears to pierce whatever sort of magical spell they are using. They also can be warded off using certain strong scented materials, such as sage or cedar wood. And when I say white ash, I don't mean white ash as in the kind of tree. I mean white ashes from a fire pit.
The only way to destroy one is to kill them in their animal form. Not only do skinwalkers bring pain and suffering to their victims, but they can crawl inside a person's mind and control them. They can make them hear things and see things that are not really there. Or so the legends go. But while the Navajo people continue to pass down stories about encounters their ancestors have had with these creatures, it seems there are more than a handful of American service members who, while out training in the field, have likewise come face to face with something they could not explain. Something that terrified them out of their wits. Something that looked like an animal, but spoke like a human. This is the Smoke Pit, and these are their stories about skinwalkers.
Yeah, so, I mean, we could go on and we could watch this. Let me, over here. Would you guys rather I go through and I analyze these stories and see if they're, if they track with skinwalkers, or would you rather do the unsolved mystery stuff? Let me do a poll really quick. Start poll. Skinny Boys or X-Files? Choose. Start poll. All right, and poll now, and while poll, I add.
Add what?
No, I put up, I put an ad into the stream. Yeah. I don't know if it's actually playing the ad.
I do not know.
Also in the tiny player, my face is very much covered. I gotta fix that maybe. It says it's lower than the recommended bit rate, and it just isn't. Like, I don't know why it's saying that.
Read Percy Jackson to us.
Read Percy Jackson to us. All right. People definitely appear to be divided. Is somebody just switching their vote back and forth? Okay, so some people did in fact get ads. Cool. I just wanted to see how that would work. 37 votes, 38 votes, 39 votes. All right, Skinny Boys is definitely the winning one at the moment. There is not a Lore Lodge OnlyFans. No, there is not. We are thinking about starting up an Archie fans and Ella fans, which obviously would not be any form of sexual content. It would just be, you can subscribe and get a daily picture of Archie and Ella for like $1 a month, probably. And then maybe like, if you do a higher tier, then you can FaceTime them. Once I have an actual house, I'm going to build them a playroom with 24-hour cameras. So that we'll just have a 24-hour live stream going nonstop where you can just watch Archie and Ella do their thing.
So
Which I think would be fun.
What?
What?
I said once Ella stops trying to eat him.
Yes, exactly. Once Ella stops trying to eat him, that is the idea.
I got this fucked up again.
They want to know when the hot tub stream is going to be. That's fair, Kellen. If you want to turn on ad block, I respect it. You are subscribed, so you are a member of the channel. I have no problem with people using ad block if they support the channel in literally any other way. If you're a $1 or a $5 member of Patreon, YouTube, whatever, go ahead and use ad block. That is fine by me. I will say the easiest way to both get rid of ads and support lots of your favorite creators is probably YouTube Premium. If you do watch a lot of YouTube, that way, you know, it's rather than, you know, obviously not everybody feels the same way that I do. But for me, like, rather than paying $1 or $5 a month membership to like 18 different YouTubers, I would prefer to just do YouTube Premium. But like I said, to full disclosure, if you guys did YouTube Premium instead of being members of this channel, it would make me less money. I'm saying that because overall, if everybody did YouTube Premium, it would spread it around, and you know, it basically helps the whole community more so than just me individually. But by all means, be a member of the channel. I really do appreciate it. But yeah, it looks like everybody has decided on doing the Skinwalker video, which I am all down for because this one seems to be very respectful. So let's do that. All right. Here we go.
Before we enter into the stories from our military service members, it might help our understanding.
No, the hot tub stream would probably be YouTube. Just be us hanging out in a hot tub. We're allowed to be shirtless. We can put pasties on our nipples if that would be a problem. We are working on finding a photographer for the calendar. The problem is that everyone we can find wants like $2,500, which is just not money we're willing to spend on the calendar, considering that the donation goal was only $1,000. So once we can figure out how we're gonna get the pictures done, the calendar will come out. Amanda and Kat are gonna help with it. They're gonna like oil us up, spray paint abs on us, the whole 9 yards. We're thinking it's going to be a supernatural themed calendar. So we're going to do flannels, cut off flannels, and cut off jean shorts.
I'm not going to lie to you. If Aiden just has a good camera.
Aiden has a very good camera.
I can probably just take the pictures, you dummy.
Oh, okay, that works.
I'm not.
Hadn't really thought of it. Okay, yeah, that works. All right. There you have it. Gonna have to do it very soon before I chunk up over the holidays, because then it is not gonna be a sexy calendar.
Standing of these creatures to hear one story that is told by the Navajo people.
Okay, I like this a lot.
Modern times may have quelled these superstitious fears that many
Get Isaiah on it. Isaiah's the one who paid to make it happen.
Native people once held, always cautious of certain creatures, always on the lookout for skinwalkers. But it was once, if not still is, a very real fear. Navajo parents would warn their children that skinwalkers could look like anyone else during the day.
True.
And at night, transforming into creatures with glowing eyes. Skinwalkers appear during the day, too, they said, waiting and watching for their victims. They could run like the wind and easily track down a person.
That's accurate.
One Arizona Navajo man tells us a story that took place about 100 years ago. This man's name is Art Tracy Jr., and his story was published by fellow natives from the Ponca and Tongva tribes in a book they subtitled Chilling American Indian Stories. As his mother relayed the story to him, in the 1920s or 30s, there was a Navajo man.
We're also in talks with a few people to start a nonprofit where we would work with storytellers from Native American communities to document folklore, oral history, all of those kinds of things in a manner that allows them to drive the storytelling while giving it the reach that we can offer. There's often a disconnect between the ability to present the accurate version of the story to a large audience without exaggerating it, due just to resource differences. So what we have is this large platform and connections with a bunch of big creators. So what we want to do is go into these communities and sit down and talk and do interviews and basically use all of the revenue from that organization to fund projects for rebuilding communities, for individual stuff, for scholarships, for land purchases, things like that. As a way to bring about more unity and mutual respect, and kind of work on fixing those issues of the past as we move forward. And that for me was inspired by this Anishinaabe story about how eventually the light-skinned race, and they talk about this light-skinned race that comes from the east, that already came and will return. And they say that the light-skinned race actually has returned, and that the last step of this prophecy is that the light-skinned race will have to make a choice. And that choice could either destroy the world or bring great plenty to it. Now, some have suggested that the light-skinned race is a lighter race of natives. In my opinion, based on the reading I've done, it seems very likely that this was inspired by the Vikings, the arrival of the Vikings, and that this prophecy was related to the idea of Europeans returning and what would happen when they did return. A number of the steps of the prophecy seem to have been fulfilled, including the return of the white people and the strife between the natives and the Europeans. So I looked at that and I was like, all right, well, what it says is that the white man is going to have to make a choice, and either we can all unite and move forward into prosperity, or we might end up destroying the world, which I'd prefer we didn't do. So I think this could be a fun and interesting way to share these stories and to also do some good for the community. I think we need to stop looking at the relationship between Native Americans and European Americans as adversarial, and start looking at it as, all right, well, the past has happened. How can we make the future better? I know that there's going to be people on both sides who look at that. There will be Europeans who are like, we won, suck it, losers. And then there's going to be natives who are like, no, it's our land. I don't want to share. You guys go back to Europe. So we're probably going to see both. But I think that overall, the amount of good that would do would be far greater than the amount of bad. Let's see. Looking through everything, some of these chats really quick. What do we have? Taco reacts on the Clock app as a boudoir photographer. That would probably be super down as an PA. I would be willing to look at that. It depends on which part of Pennsylvania, because Pennsylvania is a big place. It is a deceptively large place with just the worst road system in the country.
No, West Virginia has the worst road system in the country.
Does it really?
I don't know, Virginia, I don't know where the fuck we were that we had to take the toll road to get anywhere.
Oh, that was Virginia. Yeah, Virginia's bad. The Capital Beltway area. Ugh. What channel is this? The video looks really good. This is Wartime Stories, who I believe is also the guy behind Bedtime Stories. Yeah, it is the guy behind Bedtime Stories. Or the same production company, I guess. But production company, YouTube studio, channel, whatever. But yeah, I think that would be a pretty cool way of doing things. And how far west did the Vikings go? So not the Navajo. The Navajo did not have them in a story. That was the Anishinaabe, who are a Algonquin-speaking group who were originally located in Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, and Newfoundland. And then they moved west probably after the arrival of the Vikings in Newfoundland. Some of them date this earlier. I would question how it could possibly be earlier, given the circumstances. But again, that's why we want to do the conversations, why we want to sit down and talk to these storytellers and these historians, rather than just kind of trying to figure everything out on our own. Because the only way that we add to the current body of knowledge is by talking to one another.
Working as a ranch hand for a wealthier Navajo landowner somewhere around the western part of the Navajo reservation in Tuba City, Arizona. One day, he decided to ask his employer for a few days of leave to go and visit his family where they lived in New Mexico. Riding horseback through desert canyons, mesas, and open range, he eventually stopped along his route to rest for a while. While paused, staring out at the desert expanse around him, he suddenly spotted an old, mangy coyote sitting on top of a hill not too far away. The man pulled out his rifle, took aim, and fired, watching the coyote drop to the ground. He then walked over to inspect his kill. Reaching the top of the hill, he was shocked to find not the body of a coyote, but a young Navajo man with long hair. At least
Interesting.
part of a young man. And he was dead. The top half of his body was human, the skin painted with designs, and his lower half that of an animal, covered in the fur of a coyote.
So this definitely contradicts everything that I've ever heard from Navajo folks about skinwalkers.
Now horrified, the man who shot him looked around, wondering what to do. Spotting a deep crevice along the canyon's edge, he dragged the creature's body to the cliff and hurled it over the edge. His fear growing, he then mounted back up and rode his horse near to death, riding even past nightfall, trying to put as much distance between himself, the creature, and the place where he killed it. Finally crossing the Chuska Mountains, he reached his relative's home just past Shiprock, New Mexico.
Like, that sounds less like a skinwalker incident and more like a werewolf, almost.
After recounting his story to them, they too experienced an unnatural fear. You must never...
I'd be curious, the sourcing on the book.
Never go back to your employer, they told him. You have to stay here. The relatives of the Skinwalker will be looking for answers.
Okay,
They'll be able to
554.
relay the story to
Living ghosts and mischievous monsters. All right. Ponca Nation. Who are the Ponca? I might have to get a copy of this. So that would be Omaha Ponca, which is Siouan, which is not Navajo. And what was the, okay, and Tongva. Interesting. So I'm not going to sit here and say that these guys are making it up. I'm just saying that this doesn't sound like what I've heard from Navajo. But let's continue.
of the Skinwalker will be looking for answers, and they'll be out looking for you. It stands to reason that a creature that takes the form of a wild animal would more than likely be encountered in the wild.
I wonder if that was relayed correctly.
It should be no coincidence then that the majority of these following stories take place in the wild, unkept...
What? What?
Your dog got my dog stealing my socks.
Yeah. That's kind of funny.
Stole it right out of my hand. You want to see?
That's kind of funny. Archie's making an appearance. Hi, buddy.
Ready? They both want it.
Oh my god. All right, Archie's a bad influence. See the problem now? She has teeth. Yeah, you're not getting that back. Archie's fluffy little butt is on camera. Archie, come here, bud. Come say hi. Isn't he just the cutest little thing in the world? Come here. Come here, good boy. I don't know. Is it a clean sock or a dirty sock? Yeah, I couldn't tell you. I don't remember when he started doing that. Anyway, Archie's teaching Ella bad habits, which is hilarious because this morning she tried to kill him. What?
Everyone's the sock.
I know.
But I'm scared if I give her this sock, then Archie's going to want the sock, and then they're going to fight.
Give them separate socks.
That won't work.
Why?
Because I don't want the other sock.
That's possible. We're just going to have to figure it out.
Kept regions of various military installations, what service members would call the field. After all, military bases are often built on the more undesirable expanses.
So that's the thing, first, sir, is there are Skinwalker-like stories in other native cultures. Navajo Skinwalker specifically, from what I've been told, from the conversations I've had with members of the Navajo community, that's not how it works. So it's, yes, Amanda did like the puppies. Yeah, I'll look into it some more, but that's interesting to me.
Of undeveloped land, those which are often still covered in dense forests or vast expanses of unusable desert.
Navajo traditional
These portions of
teaching.
land are therefore only differentiated from wild land by the long fence surrounding the base's perimeter, maybe with a mess of barbed wire adorning the top. But a fence only keeps out law-abiding people. Animals and unexplained creatures with a mind of their own will always find a way around such trivial, man-made barriers. This first military encounter would seem to verify that. They agreed not to tell their commander.
All right.
You got any plans for this weekend?
Yeah, I'll probably go see that new Rocky movie.
There's another Rocky movie coming out.
Yeah.
Who's he fighting this time? Apollo's kids?
No, some commie bastard, some Russian, I think. No,
That's kind of funny.
looks all right.
Granted, I will say, did it say when this was from?
They agreed not to tell their commander.
You got any plans for this weekend?
So I'm assuming that this is a paraphrase, that this dialogue is not from the original story. If it is from the original story, then this seems like it's probably a no sleep kind of deal.
Yeah, I'll probably go see that new Rocky movie.
There's another Rocky movie coming out.
Just because, like, if this happened in the 80s or the 70s, you know, when Rocky was actually constantly coming out, then I that's a little too on the nose for actual events that happened in the more recent years.
Oh, yeah. Who's he fighting this time? Apollo's kids?
No, some commie bastard, some Russian, I think. That looks all right.
Those don't look quite like... That looks more 80s to me than it does 2000s.
All right. Mind if I come see it with you? The girl just dumped me.
Oh, again?
Yeah, Oh, jeez. Get your hands up. Damn.
Sir.
Old man, you scared the shit out of me.
Sir, get...
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and make the assumption that this is invented dialogue for the sake of telling the story.
Get your hands in the air.
Get your hands up. Do you have any idea where you're at right now, old man?
I think there's something wrong with him.
Either he's deaf or he's got some sort of mental problem. Sir, get your hands in the air. Hey, go ahead and call this in.
Yeah, let me get it. HQ, this is Rover 1. Come in, over. HQ, this is Rover 1. The following account was submitted to the curators of the Paranormal Scholar website by Stacy C. on behalf of her Uncle Bob R.
Gotcha. Okay.
My Uncle Bob was in the Army. Last Thanksgiving, he got drunk and told us all a story that shocked me. It was around 1985, and he was still new to the Army, only being about 3 years in. He was on patrol duty on a base in Arizona. It was late, and he and another guy were walking along the fence line. Bob and the other guy were focused on looking out beyond the fence, outside the base, when they heard a sound behind them. The sound came from the inside, from their side of the fence. When they turned around, they saw an old man dressed in buckskin, with long hair and braids. Bob described it as being so gray that it almost glowed in the moonlight.
I will say I'm always very, 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 very skeptical of accounts submitted directly to paranormal websites.
The man was standing approximately 30 feet behind them. Both men drew their weapons, as the old man was in a restricted area, with warning signs all over the place. They could have shot him if they'd wanted to, but neither my Uncle Bob nor his buddy wanted to shoot an old man. They figured that he must have Alzheimer's and had wandered into the base or something. After all, he wasn't threatening them, and he appeared harmless. The men shouted to the old man, telling
How do you wander into a base with barbed wire fences?
him he was in a restricted area, and that he needed to put his hands in the air. Bob thought they'd walk him back to post and then call the local police department, who would be able to
Was I right, Kellen? Is that 80s?
get him back home. Bob tried to call in a report, but it was just static. Asking his friend to help, both he and Bob turned to tinker with the radio. Although they only looked away for half a second, to quote my uncle, when they turned back, the old man was gone. In his place was a massive rabbit, just sitting there, watching them.
Interesting.
That's what he said, that when he and his partner looked back up, the man had disappeared, and there was this large rabbit sitting in his place. Both men looked around, right to left, and back again to see where the old man had
Nice, I got it right.
wandered off to, but he was nowhere to be seen. In that time, the rabbit took off towards the fence. Then again, they heard a noise behind them, and when they turned around, the same as last time, the old man was there. This time, however, he was now on the outside of the fence.
So, again, everything that I've come across, that I've been told, has been that the transformation occurs by putting on the pelt and taking off the pelt. So this one strikes me as odd. We'll see.
The fence was a good 8 to 10 feet tall. There was no way this old man could have jumped it.
Hell with this.
Bob described how that sent him and his buddy off running, and they agreed not to tell their commander. Keep in mind that my uncle was drunk, but despite over 30 years having passed since that night, he still looked scared as hell when he told us that he had seen a skinwalker.
It feels a little off. Like, it's, again, I'm not perfect, and I do make mistakes, and there are a lot of versions of Skinwalker stories, but it's always been very, very clear in the accounts that I've read and the conversation that I've had that they don't just transform on a whim into whatever animal they want, you know?
Although Stacy doesn't mention the name of the base where her uncle's story took place, I was curious if the base in question might be rather obvious.
Probably.
Arizona has several military bases, 3 of which are Army. Yuma Proving Grounds on the western border with California, Fort Huachuca near the southern border with Mexico, and Camp Navajo, which is up north near Flagstaff.
Sounds much
Why
closer.
do I have a sneaking suspicion that her uncle was stationed at the third one?
That works.
The base was formerly named Navajo Army Depot in the early 80s and was and is still used as a munitions storage facility. Definitely seems like the kind of base that would call for routine perimeter fence patrols to ensure that no one unauthorized is entering into the base to steal something or cause damage. And as the name would indicate, the land it occupies lies very close to what remains of the Navajo's land.
Okay. Well, let's check on that a little bit. Let's see. Navajo Nation, Flagstaff. Fort. Yeah. Where is this? He said it was Fort Navajo. Camp Navajo. Okay, there we go. Camp Navajo. All right, how close we talking here? All right, measure distance. So, all right, yeah, that is pretty close. I just wasn't sure of the scale we were getting in that YouTube video. So it's about 30 miles.
Navajo, which is up north near Flagstaff. Why do I have a sneaking suspicion that her uncle was stationed at a base that would call for routine perimeter fence patrols to ensure that no one unauthorized is entering into the base to steal something or cause damage?
I really don't understand how
as
they
the name
talk
would indicate,
so slow.
the land it occupies lies very close to what remains of the Navajo's land, and was undoubtedly occupied by the Navajo people in previous generations.
It's just so slow.
Skinwalker guns.
No, you only get put on a list if you're looking up a whole series of things like air bases in Malaysia and Diego Garcia and where is Diego Garcia? It's over here somewhere, I think. But yeah, you only get in trouble if you look up a whole bunch of stuff about MH370 and Freescale semiconductors and how Singapore and Malaysia split from one another and Singapore's airspace and what protocol is for scrambling fighter jets. I might be on a list, guys.
The following story comes from an unnamed Marine who spent time training in a desert wasteland that is otherwise known as Marine Corps Base Camp Pendleton in Southern California. He submitted this story to Nick Orton, who runs the Tales from the Grid Square project. I've personally spent quite a bit of time roaming the desert on that base, both day and night. Plenty of wild animals that a Marine can run across at any time. There's rabbits, mice, deer, skunks, coyotes, a few bobcats, quail, roadrunners, hawks, owls, and the more dangerous animals like the odd buffalo, rattlesnakes coiled around the base of shrubs, and even one Marine in my group that was stalked during a nightland navigation course by a mountain lion. I've otherwise had my share of strange hallucinations out there, probably due to sleep deprivation and the mesmerizing effect of the green-tinted night vision goggles. But to my knowledge,
Fair.
I'm the only one who saw those things. Whatever this Marine and his buddies saw would arguably creep anybody out.
All right, what'd they see?
He
Tell me.
writes, my squad's name is Skinwalkers, and there's a story behind it. A little over a year ago, we had a division-level exercise called Steel Night. My gun squad was attached to a platoon.
What? Uh-huh. Oh, no.
In a defense position above the Camp Horno combat town. While we were out there, one of my buddies told me how he had seen this Skinwalker when he was younger.
What?
It creeped us all out when he said it was still following him to this day when he was younger. It creeped us all out when he said it was still following him to this day. We only had one boot in our squad, a Marine just out of boot camp, I mean. So me and my buddy took an hour of gun watch so my boot could get a little sleep. But instead of sleeping, it's 30 minutes into this watch shift, so maybe around 01:30 give or take, and this boot keeps saying he's hearing weird noises.
Ella! I know, just like...
But I can't do anything.
I know. Archie, come here.
Like the sound that the Predator makes, but says it sounds faster and louder. My other buddy that told us he had seen a Skinwalker when he was younger, he then tells us that the one he saw made that same noise. So that freaks us out, and we get real quiet.
What is she doing? What is she on about?
She's playing.
And start listening for whatever this noise is. Sure enough, we hear it, this strange sound, along with a screech and rustling in the brush that's coming from down the front side of the hill. We had a 13 Golf on the gun, which is a thermal optic, and I looked down the hill and saw this deer-looking thing, but it was standing on two legs.
Again, sounds way too much like the internet version of Skinwalkers and not nearly enough like the traditional Navajo versions of Skinwalkers that I've come across.
As soon as I caught sight of it, it then ran straight up the hill past our defense on the right flank. And then it dropped back down on all four legs and disappeared down the backside of this hill. My buddy Rick had a skeeter, which is another type of thermal, and he saw that thing too.
So, what does immediately come to mind is that chronic wasting disease can cause deer to behave very strangely. And in that case, they would still show up on IR. They would still look a lot like deer. Now, the noises, hard to say.
Then we came up with the name Skinwalker Guns, since we just say that's what it was and embrace it. And that's how our squad name came to be. Now, I'm not one to knock a good story, but I have seen deer stand up on their hind legs and walk. Usually when two bucks are fighting, or some other instance where one deer is showing signs of aggression, possibly trying to reach the lower branches of a tree to eat the leaves. I've never seen one that made predator noises run up a hill before. Nor did I see it through thermals in the dead of night after one of my buddies had just told me a Skinwalker story. All of that happening at the same time would make for a creepy experience in any case. But the following stories are not so easy to offer a rational explanation for.
Yeah, so, here. Can a deer make skittering sounds? This is a very different... Archie, come here. Come here and get Archie. Archie! Come here. Relax. This is not playtime, guys.
Stop.
It's not playtime. Come on. Archie. Come here.
Harness and taking them for a walk.
His harness? I actually do not know particularly where his harness would be. He'll be fine. Oh, it's right there. Yeah, okay, cool. That'll work. Archie, you silly creature.
Fawn calling for mom. It's called bleeding.
All right.
Bless me. She's hungry. Calling for friends.
So that right there.
For friends.
that, and then, of course, the way he described it.
It was standing on, and I looked down the front side of the hill. I see something. We had a 13 Golf on the gun, which is rustling. Sure enough, out, and we get real that the one he saw made my other buddy that told us he had seen a Skinwalker when he was younger. It sounds faster and louder. This is like the sound that the predator makes.
Sound that the predator makes.
Very inquisitive.
See what I mean?
Very inquisitive. Mom calling fawns. Waiting for them.
See? Yeah, I'm thinking they just heard a deer and that it stood up a little too vertically. Here, I mean, can deer stand on their hind legs? Yep. So they can stand on their hind legs. Does do it. Bucks do it. They do it at night to grab leaves off branches. In my opinion, what they're describing there seems a lot more like it was dark, they were all overtired, they encountered a deer. You know what I'm saying?
But says it sounds faster and louder. My other buddy that told us he had seen a Skinwalker when he was younger, he then tells us that the one he saw made that same noise.
You, Nico.
So that freaks us out, and we get real quiet. And as soon as on all four legs, and
yeah, let's go to the next one.
Not a good story, but I have seen deer stand up on their hind legs and walk. Usually when two bucks are fighting, or some other instance where one deer is showing signs of aggression, possibly trying to reach the lower branches of a tree to eat.
Yeah, so I heard him say that, but I just wanted to clarify.
The leaves, holes in the dead of night.
But as he says, the next ones are a little bit harder to rationalize.
Make for a creepy experience in any
Worked
case.
up deer, exactly.
The following story. Hello.
Yeah, that one sounds like they just kind of freaked themselves out a little bit, which my friends and I have had the same thing happen while we were camping. Like, when I go camping with my friends, obviously I'm the scary story guy.
Break right towards the nose of the plane and not jump. So, Jump Master sees him going right and says, nope. He reaches up, grabs the overhead, and then donkey kicks his ass right out the door.
Oh my god.
Dude, I got out right after him, and he is screaming. The whole big.
All right, that's a sound, all right.
That line sounds a hell of a lot more like a woman. This next account comes from an unnamed soldier who is likely a member of the California National Guard and was serving on a security detail during a massive wildfire.
Okay.
The Dixie Fire of
Sounds about
2021 was the single largest wildfire recorded in California history. It burned nearly 1 million acres of land.
I'm already extraordinarily skeptical because of the timing. 2021 is when the whole Skinwalker thing was taking off again. I would know. It's how I got here. So I'm skeptical.
And destroyed multiple communities in the area. And with the rapid spread and size of the growing fire, it would seem the California Guard was assisting local authorities in blocking roads, preventing civilians from driving into areas that were burning or were in the direct path of the fire. The fire undoubtedly disrupted a vast amount of wildlife in the area. But for this soldier and his group, they appear to have encountered something in the forest that was in and of itself disturbing. He writes, "This happened during the 2021 Dixie Fire in North Cal. My lieutenant, our driver, PFC Bravo, and myself were driving around, making the rounds, and checking on all our guys out at their checkpoints. We got to one where our guys were blocking a road, and they had one of those generator lights. So we stopped for a bit, and we're all just..."
Wait, sorry, I got... what? Somebody's arguing with me. No, okay. Please stop arguing with me if you don't know what you're talking about. As an actual witch and member of the pagan clergy, you're a Wiccan. Shut the hell up. Jesus Christ. This is why I don't talk about witchcraft on Lore Lodge, is because every time I do, I get some jackass who decided in 2014 on Tumblr that they were going to rebel against their parents by getting into witchcraft, found Wicca and thought it was the coolest thing ever. There is no pagan clergy. What does that mean? Pagan is not a specific thing. Pagan is, as a term, literally means folk. It means folk tradition. It's from the pagus, from the villages. It's provincial by definition. You have to be a specific kind of pagan. It's like saying, it's the same thing as me saying I'm monotheistic. It's actually less precise than me saying I'm Abrahamic. I'm a Christian, which is Abrahamic, which is monotheistic. You can't just be you don't say I'm pagan, as in I'm a member of the pagan clergy. Nobody says I'm monotheistic. They say what their religion is. It's just so frustrating.
Just standing around talking and making conversation when we started hearing a woman screaming. It startled the hell out of all 6 of us. My LT and I ready up our weapons as we take a few steps towards the wood line. We had been told that if we hear a woman screaming, it's usually a mountain lion attacking a deer or something like that. But this sounded...
I'm going to ask. Oh, thank you, PJ. I appreciate that. I'm going to ask. May I ask what specific kind of pagan practice or pantheon you subscribe to? This is the thing, is they always expect that, I'm just some silly Christian boy who doesn't know what I'm talking about. Bad move.
Close. And honestly, it just sounded too much like a woman screaming. So my LT yells out, "Hello?" And I shit you not, in his same exact voice, we hear back, "Hello?"
Shit.
What the hell? Everybody back.
This is starting to sound... This is closer. The problem is, it's precisely the trend that was going around on TikTok.
This wasn't an echo at all. It came clear as day from the direction we heard the screaming, and it was his exact voice.
I was not arguing with someone on Twitter again, but if you haven't, Lore Lodge does in fact have a Twitter. It's at Lore Lodge, I think. Come on, man. Really? Oh. There we go. Yeah, it's at Lore Lodge. Where's my profile? No, I just want to look at my profile. There it is. Yeah, here's us. We do a little bit of arguing, but it's also a lot of commentary, and right now we're kind of in an argument. I have to get back to posting silliness. I haven't posted enough silliness lately, but
we all immediately said, "Screw that." My crew and I got back in the truck and noped the hell out of there after telling Specialist Sierra and his crew to stay in the truck.
Aiden got religion and history autism.
And to combat lock all their doors.
I don't use light mode. I just haven't logged into Twitter on the new computer yet.
Pretty sure a Skinwalker was out there trying to get one of us. Creepy as hell.
It's just way too close. It's...
As I mentioned...
That is... And I'll let this play, 'cause, well, no, Tales from the Grid Square, it's right there. That is point for point the version of Skinwalkers that was all over TikTok in 2021. The something screaming hello, things like that, all does come from actual stories. But it's a little too perfect for me. And it sounds like it could have been someone screwing with them as well. That one I'm probably not gonna buy.
And earlier, these last few stories were shared with me by Nick Orton, a man who is currently serving in the U.S. Army from Fatu, Here
we go.
I know you're there.
I have heard ravens imitating human voices. That's the other possibility. Because that's the other thing is I will say... Here we go. Let's see. Can ravens scream? People have a tendency to be a little jumpy.
There goes the radio. Considering the man telling this story has Navajo blood, I thought it might tie up these encounter stories nicely.
Now that I'm more willing to believe.
Not to mention that his is by far one of the most bizarre. Another military police officer out on night shift, seeing terrifying things in the woods. He writes, I'm an MP at Quantico, and there's definitely been a couple of weird things I've seen on
Quantico. Isn't that... Yeah. That's a little far east for Skinwalkers. But I'm willing to hear him out.
You cannot
We'll fit it.
call evil things good.
Definitely interested in looking at this guy's content. Gonna have to take a look at this for sure.
nights patrolling West Side. So I've been at Quantico for about 2 years as an MP. For those that don't know about Quantico, it's set up with two sides. Main side, where everything is, east of Interstate 95, and the appropriately named West Side, where they do TBS, the basic school for officers, and all the ranges. West Side is pretty damn massive. Like, I'm talking it would take 2 to 3 hours to drive around it, and it has all of these unused back roads and old cemeteries from homesteads dotting the landscape.
Creepy.
Plenty of forgotten training areas too, dating back to World War II. When I
Very
was on
creepy.
night shift, I always asked to be the roving unit out there, because it would give me a chance to scout out places to hunt or fish on my off days, and being the only unit out there and being left alone was pretty nice to just skate or, do my own thing over my 10-hour shift. Now, I'm not a stranger to the woods or to the outdoors or anything. I grew up running around the mountains for quail and deer in Southern California as a kid, and spent a ton of nights out camping by myself in my teens. So there's really not much out there in nature that freaks me out. But one night, in about November, when the nights get really dark real fast, I was done posting Marines out on the gates and was heading up to a far-off training area. I had my tree stand and trail camera that I'd previously set up and wanted to go take a look to see if anything had been around. To get there, you have to drive about 30 minutes up one road and then another 15 until you hit a long dirt road that dissects that part of the base in half. And in this particular area, comms always sucks, so without a working radio, you're pretty much out there on your own.
All right.
I parked my Durango on the offshoot. I grabbed my flashlight and started off heading into this creek bottom about a mile or so off the road. I've done this a ton of times, so I got there pretty fast. I grabbed the chip out of my trail cam and I hop up into my tree stand to take a look at it and to kill some time. And not even 5 minutes into flipping through pictures, most of which were of just some turkey that were hanging around, I hear someone, and I say someone because I thought it was a person,
Okay.
walking through the woods about 30 yards in front of me. Now this is like the middle of the night on a training base, so a lieutenant who got lost doing nightland nav isn't out of the question. So I'm thinking maybe this is my chance to mess with them from up in my stand. I quickly close my laptop and I turn off my flashlight, and I try looking out to see where they were. And I hear them walk closer and closer, and then stop about 20 yards in front of me. And at that point, with the illume being fairly bright that night, I could make out the outline of what looked like a deer, which was kind of disappointing.
Okay.
So I just stayed quiet to watch where he was heading, so I wouldn't spook him. And all of a sudden, this thing starts bashing its head against a tree over and over and over and over until its
Definitely
entire
weird.
skull cap was crushed and it was leaking blood and brain matter. Then this effing thing stands up on its hind legs and turns towards me as though it was staring directly at me, even with its eyes being clearly now useless. And then it spoke in the clearest tone I have ever heard in my life. My stomach dropped. And I was too frozen in fear to even think to draw my pistol. But
Oh, no, Red, your notification bell isn't broken. YouTube just decides to notify you of all videos, including live streams, when it thinks that you are most likely to watch them. Which might work for uploads, but not live streams. So thanks, YouTube, for being the dumbest platform on the internet when it comes to live stream notifications. Just utterly incredible. You know who notifies you immediately of a live stream? Twitch. It's unfortunate their monetization policy sucks.
Then, as quickly as it had walked up, this thing dropped back down onto all fours and walked away.
So, yeah. Everything about that sounds like chronic wasting disease, except the standing up and talking part.
I waited about 10 minutes, shaking like a leaf, trying to calm down, before I left my laptop. I left everything. I just hauled ass out of there, got out of my stand, ran back to my patrol car, and I grabbed my shotgun, and I sat for the rest of the night in the lit parking lot of the MCX.
Would you be able to do that? If you've been assigned to patrol, would you be allowed to just chill? Kellen, does that sound right to you? Like, does this story seem off at all, I guess, is the question?
Took about a month before I summoned up the courage to go back, grab my laptop and stuff I'd left there.
And would they let him leave behind, like, a laptop and everything?
And I went with a friend who I didn't tell what had happened, but I told him to bring his long gun as well. When I got there, I grabbed my stuff, and I looked towards where the thing had been. And the tree was busted up with splinters everywhere, and what looked like, the bone fragments and the mess, the blood scattered on the ground. Needless to say, I don't go out checking stuff in the middle of the night anymore, and I hunt on the complete opposite side of the base. And anytime I do need to go by there now, I always take a shotgun in condition 1. I told my Navajo grandpa about this, and he told me not to speak about it, but clearly, I don't listen well. It freaked the hell out of me. Got me so messed up to the point where I don't even like going in the woods anymore.
Yeah, I'm skeptical, but let's see what he has to say.
As I say, I've seen deer do strange things, but talk? While the idea seems completely ludicrous, Navajo legend does say that skinwalkers possess the ability to enter a person's mind and make them hear and see things that aren't really there.
That one I actually have heard.
So perhaps the voice...
So, depending on the route I go with Twitch, I may be allowed to multi-stream, but if I take this deal that would pay me a flat rate up front, then I would have to basically provide a Twitch-only experience of some kind. I'm trying to work out how that would work, if I could do full multi-stream for most of the streams, and then do one exclusive Twitch stream a week, or if I would have to do like a half-hour segment or an hour segment that's Twitch only in each one. Again, I don't know for sure, and it would basically have to be, it would be a 3-month stint, after which they would either offer me a further contract, or they would basically be like, yeah, we're happy to have you, but we're just going to go with the standard partner program. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I'm still trying to make that decision, so we'll see.
He heard was only inside his own mind. It's no less terrifying either way. As for the animal's strange behavior, if it indeed was just an animal, I found at least one more account online where a young man recalled seeing this kind of behavior while hunting with his grandfather. No idea where it took place, but the two men apparently watched a deer slam its head repeatedly into a rock until its antlers and skull were shattered.
That sounds a lot like chronic wasting disease.
Animal then clumsily licking its own brain matter off of the rock before standing upright like a human, he said, and then walking into the nearby river and drowning itself.
Sounds like chronic wasting disease.
Both the young man and his grandfather were also terrified by the experience. It likewise kept them from wanting to return to the woods. And quite strangely, the story ends with the young man saying his grandfather moved to Florida shortly afterward for what he put in quotes as safety reasons. He makes no mention about having any suspicions about what this animal was, other than just being a deer, acting strangely, but it does make you wonder what about the animal's behavior by itself would have scared them so badly. Strange as it may seem, these are only a handful of the available Skinwalker stories we have left to share. It would seem another particular Marine Corps installation in California likewise has no small amount of reported encounters with strange creatures roaming the desert backlands. And with all of the artifacts that have been found in the area, it would seem that the installation, 29 Palms, appears to have been built on what was once tribal land.
That one's a little silly to me, because basically every single part of the United States was at one point tribal land. The whole thing. It would kind of be like finding... It's kind of like going to Europe and being like, it seems that this specific location may have once been Celtic land. Like, yeah. Almost certainly. So, yeah, I mean, from everything I heard in this video... Now, don't get me wrong. Wartime Stories does a great job with narration, with the illustrations. I think very solid storytelling channel. I would question that these stories are actual Skinwalker encounters and not made up. The last one, if it actually does come from an actual part Navajo individual, I'd be a lot more willing to believe it. However, if it was simply just from... if it's just an anonymous person, then I would argue that that is very likely a fake story. What we might call fiction, which is what most stories about Skinwalkers, Wendigos, and all of that are. The fact of the matter is, when it comes to this sort of thing, the supernatural version is very rarely the origin of the story. It seems a lot more likely that many of these stories of supernatural entities come from human encounters, from, humans doing weird things. And at the same time, you might say, oh, well, that's mundane, that's not supernatural. I would disagree. Schizophrenia could be defined as supernatural 100 years ago. I'm trying to think of other things. The things like chronic wasting disease 100 years ago would be supernatural. The hunger that some people supposedly get when they commit acts of cannibalism, supernatural. All of these things that end up being psychology or psychiatric issues will very often seem to be supernatural on their face, and then there's an underlying cause that we just didn't understand. But the thing about the word supernatural is that that's precisely what it means. A supernatural thing is something that has yet to be explained, that can't be explained by science. A preternatural thing is something that science has yet to explain. Those two things can cross over in a very significant way. Basically, anything that is preternatural is supernatural, and vice versa, because until it's been proven, it hasn't been proven. I would argue that the difference is that a preternatural thing would be something like Wendigo psychosis, where we know that it exists, we don't necessarily know what causes it, whereas a supernatural thing would be, what's a good example of this? Demonic entities, demonic presences, possessions, oppressions, things like that would be supernatural, because science can't explain how somebody might wake up with scratch marks on their chest when their shirt has no blood on it, or has no scratch marks on it. So that's kind of the difference between super and preternatural. Skinwalkers, and personally, as somebody who is religious, who is Christian, who does believe that there are divine entities and divine powers in the world, I think that it's very plausible that you could have actual witchcraft that actually does, in fact, do things. Shape-shifting might be taking it a bit too far, but that doesn't preclude the possibility that somebody might find a way to gain some sort of supernatural advantage by performing deals with entities. Of course, in the Christian sense, then anything is going to be demonic and satanic and the like in that case. But somebody who doesn't have Abrahamic religion might not look at it that way. They might look at these as just their gods who they're making deals with. The puritanical way that Christianity evolved during the late Middle Ages and into the early modern period wiped away in the common understanding a lot of the supernatural and the paranormal aspects of Christianity and the nuances that were involved with Abrahamic religion from the start. The Jews, for example, are not the only people who can go to heaven in Jewish scripture. We know from the book of Jonah that the people of Nineveh in Syria, who absolutely not Jewish, not ethnically Jewish, could, in fact, serve the Jewish God, and through doing that, by following the Jewish rules, achieve the Jewish salvation. Christianity takes much the same line. It doesn't matter what race or ethnicity you are, so long as you come to Christ, you will be saved. So you get these, these various forms, but I think that we've lost a lot of the nuance and the complexity. And it's good that that's kind of being dug back up again. And I think that's the way that we should be discussing things, because when you approach demonology as a Christian from the perspective that all people who practice it are inherently evil, you're probably missing the plot. In reality, everybody who practices some form of witchcraft, demonology, paganism may very well be worshiping something that exists, and just isn't the Christian deity. Now, as a Christian, I don't believe that they should do that, and I think that they are most likely putting themselves in dire danger, but I don't think it makes you necessarily evil if you do that. Now, of course, people who are more along the lines of just, I'm part of the pagan clergy, probably just have no clue what they're talking about. But, no. That does bring us towards the end of this stream. I do want to acknowledge Echo Warrior said, this is just the stream I needed tonight. Also hope the Clipper dude takes you up on the debate. So stupid that TikTok allows it. You know what? I'm going to pull it up. Twee. I'm going to show you what he's talking about. Let's see. Where is it? Here we go. So, this guy right here posted... Let me see if I can find the original. And maybe can I switch over to this guy? No. What about you? That's not even remotely set up yet. The IRL one won't work, so here, let's do, does my gaming one have it does have a display capture. All right. There we go. That's what I wanted. I hit the wrong button. Where's my webcam stuff? I want to move. Oh, okay, it is moving properly. There we go. I just want that to be like over in the actual corner, taking up as little extra space on the sides as possible. Anyway, so he's really trying to keep it going, but he put this up. And here's the thing, I'm just going to play his video and we'll see how it goes.
In the life of a $20,000 a month TikTok clipper. First thing I do when I get into my office is write down my daily goals. Today
Yeah, so I just want to point one thing out really quickly.
In the life of a $20,000 a month TikTok clipper.
I don't make that much. I don't make that much.
First thing I do when I get into my office is write down my daily goals. Today I wanted to get 1 million views in a day and make at least 5.
I personally don't make that much. The channel does, but I personally do not make that much.
$500. I also wanted to start a new page since all my other ones are currently doing really well. So after doing so, I go and sit at my desk, pull my phone out and get ready to start my shift. The first thing I do is go and search for popular YouTubers to screen record. After watching their video for a minute or two, I end the screen recording and crop the video so that it fits the screen. Then I go and screen record GTA gameplay to film the cars rolling down the hill, and then crop it the same way I did with the other one. Then I open up CapCut and start a new project.
When I tell you this made my blood boil, that's not even taking it far enough.
Importing the first video, you go to overlays to add the second one on top. And then you want to click ratio at the bottom and select the TikTok option. This is so you can put the GTA gameplay at the bottom and the main video.
Like, it's not, and also what pisses me off is he's not even like doing this in the most optimized way possible. Like, it would be one thing if he had come up with some sort of brilliant new strategy for doing this, but he didn't. He's not even a smart person. He's just a thief. I also think he has the exact same Corsair keyboard that I have.
Go at the top. Then you want to go to auto captions and start using this format. These
He
settings
doesn't even caption it himself.
are going to create the best subtitles for you. Then you want to export your video, go over to your TikTok page and upload it. One of my videos last month made me $1,200 from one video. If you want to learn from me and how I do what I do,
One of his videos, he says. One of his videos.
you can join the
I think you mean one of my videos, or somebody like me.
free Discord in my bio.
Now, of course, community notes immediately pointed out that this is, in fact, intellectual property theft. Everybody in the comments is all over him, even to the extent that community notes is saying there is no ethical clipping. And now right here, as you can see, I want to point out 170 likes on his tweet, 621 on mine. He never responded. I sent him a message. I'm not going to open up my messages, but I sent him a message. He did agree to do the debate with a bigger YouTuber who has like 5 million subscribers. Brody Fox, here we go. November 28th. That's today, actually. 2.6 thousand tuned in. So, yeah, so I would get more views than this. I'm curious. Will it actually play the recording? I'm not hearing anything.
Your own thoughts and the existence of life, but as you do that, we'll get ready on our end, and then we'll.
I'm not hearing anything here.
In 3 months. So, what we'll do after him and I get through our main points and come to a sense of understanding or a understanding of a lack of understanding, we'll allow people to potentially come up as speakers one by one.
See, this is what pisses me off. And here's what I'm gonna do is I'm going to take this guy. Actually, no, here. Where can we get it? Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna quote it. I'm gonna say, you managed to snag a debate with a YouTuber who has over 5 million subscribers, but then seem to have decided that X was the place to do it. This is clearly because you wanted minimal exposure. Come to the big leagues and we'll do it on YT, where more than 2.6K people will see and hear. Gonna save that one as a draft and come back to it because I want to add some details. Yes, I am live angry tweeting. Yeah, so I want to hear what he says.
And these speakers will be able to make their point. Now, let's say you make a point against me or a point against him, whatever point you're making against, that person will have a chance to respond, and then we'll move on to the next speaker. I will definitely dive back into that that way we're going to do it when we get to that point. So if you missed out on this, you're a little confused, don't worry. But what I wanted to do to kick this off is basically a little bit of a background. Now, before I pass off the Musa, for those of you who don't know who I am, or who may be wondering why I don't sound like the cartoon character profile photo that is on this Twitter account, I am the creator and producer of Yamama, anime Yamama. Now, with that being said, I do want to pass it over to Musa and give him a chance to kind of give us a quick rundown of his background, who he is, etc. And then we can dive into the actual debate of itself. So Musa, tell us a little bit about yourself.
No worries, man. Thank you for the intro. So, my name's Musa.
Why do you say no worries?
And over the past year and a half, or like past 18, 20 months, I've been making TikTok clips for people as part of my agency. So people have actually been paying me to repurpose their long form content.
See, what he did not say was I'm being paid to repurpose long-form content. He said he goes and he finds a popular YouTuber's content. Out of the gate, this dude's lying. He's a coward. He didn't want to go on YouTube and do this. I mean, Brody Fox has a significant following over here, sure. But, like, if this was done on YouTube where it appropriately should have been done, 5.3 million subscribers. This little bitch boy ran scared to the Twitter Spaces where he knew very few people would actually watch or listen. So, you know, that's what that kind of was about. I'm disgusted. I'm disgusted that TikTok allows that. I'm disgusted that he thinks it's ethical. And to be perfectly honest, I'm disgusted that that Brody Fox was so cordial about that intro. Just like what an absolutely awful person this Musa person is. You know, it's just, I hope that every single person he's ever stolen content from sues the hell out of him. I know that obviously Mr. Beast, I even know that Wendigoon has a different opinion from me on this, but here's the difference. I work my ass off 60 hours a week. Aiden works another 20 on top of his day job. We are not Mr. Beast and Wendigoon who can make a video on anything and people will watch it. Now, that's not to say that either of them don't put a ton of work into their videos. They absolutely do. I've done videos with Wendigoon. I know how much effort he puts in. What I'm saying here is they're not active on these other platforms nearly as much. They don't have as big a problem with it as somebody who's a little bit smaller, and all of our spare money gets reinvested into the channel. So those guys have different opinions, and I respect that. And, you know, they do the same or more work than I do. I'm not trying to discredit anything that they do. It's just, I don't like when jackasses like this guy use, oh, well, a bigger creator said it's okay, so that means everyone should be okay with it. No. I put in the work and you didn't. It's that simple. I did not ask you to give me your free marketing. I did not, you know, say, hey, yeah, please make content with my videos. I have been very clear that if people want to edit my stuff, if people want to transform it, if people want to do commentary, if they want to parody, if they want to animate, if they want to transform it in any way, totally cool with it. But what this guy is doing is just straight up stealing people's work. This is no different than him taking somebody's book and republishing it somewhere else. That is the same exact thing. So no, I'm disgusted. I think this is awful. Yeah, there's been 100K viewers of the MH370 live stream. Damn. But that's what I mean. This guy had 2.6 thousand people listen. Meanwhile, our live streams are hitting 100K. Now, obviously, that's a high one for us. I don't know. I don't mean to sound petty. I don't mean to, you know, trash any other creators. I really don't. I totally respect that other people have different opinions than me on this. But, I mean, it's... As a guy who has worked really, really hard and is still in that period where I need every single cent that my videos make, the last thing I need is some other jackass on the internet taking my hard work and profiting off of it. And yeah, it does piss me off, especially because he doesn't properly credit anybody. You know, it would be one thing if these clips did properly credit me. Then I might say, all right, well, it's exposing me to more people. But the fact of the matter is, TikTok views don't translate to YouTube views. They just don't. It doesn't happen. So it makes me really angry. But yeah, anyway, that's no, he doesn't credit the original creator ever. But yeah, I will pull up this Nigel and Marmalade thing that Pumpkin Bear really wants me to watch.
He's Nigel, the tiny wizard, riding atop his dark horse steed. He's Nigel, the tiny wizard. He'll help anyone in need.
mate, hello. I'm looking to do an extension on my cave. And all I need is something to blow the back wall of my cave out, that's all.
What is this?
Splendid. I'll have that one, please.
Quite dangerous, though, friend.
Oh.
Oh, Nigel,
Oh,
he's
no.
not dead. He's in shock from the trauma and blood loss. He'll be fine. I love you, chocolate.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, I just love watching TV more than anything. My TV's broken. Can you use your television magic to fix it?
Nigel, television magic is not to be trifled with. Are you all right, Nigel, friend? Rather gigantic.
Behind you! I'm inside the TV! All right, this is the best thing that's ever happened to me! Thank you both. You've made my life complete!
It gives me... It gives me llamas with hats vibes.
Carl! There is a dead human in our house!
Oh, hey! How did he get here?
Carl!
Why are the
what did you
subtitles in
do?
German?
I didn't do this.
Explain what happened, Carl!
I've never seen him before in my life.
Why did you kill this person, Carl?
I do not kill people. That is my least favorite thing to do.
Tell me, Carl, exactly what you were doing before I got home.
All right, well, I was upstairs.
Okay.
I was sitting in my room.
Yes.
Reading a book.
Go on.
And
Very, like, early YouTube, like, vibes.
well, this guy walked in.
Okay.
So I went up to him.
Yes.
And I stabbed him 37 times in the chest.
Carl, that kills people.
Oh.
These were my childhood. This and Charlie the Unicorn. Yeah, Charlie the Unicorn's over here.
Hey, Charlie! Hey, Charlie, wake up! Yeah, Charlie, you silly sleepyhead, wake up!
Oh god, you guys. This had better be pretty freaking important. Is the meadow on fire?
No, Charlie, we found a map to Candy Mountain. Candy Mountain, Charlie. Yeah, Charlie, we're going to Candy Mountain. Come with us, Charlie. Yeah, Charlie, it'll be an adventure.
Just absolute
We're going
classics.
On an adventure, Charlie.
Yeah, Candy Mountain, right. I'm just gonna, go back to sleep now.
No, Charlie, you have to come with us to Candy Mountain. Yeah, Charlie, Candy Mountain. It's a land of sweets and joy.
I'm assuming everybody has
Join
seen this,
us.
though.
Please stop bouncing on me.
Candy Mountain, Charlie. Yeah, Candy Mountain.
All right, fine. I'll go with you to Candy Mountain.
La 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 la. La, la, la,
Just an absolute classic.
Enough with the singing already.
Our first stop is over there, Charlie.
Oh my god, have some of you not seen this?
Oh god, what is that?
It's a Leopleurodon, Charlie.
Magical Leopleurodon.
It's gonna guide our way to Candy Mountain.
All right, guys, you do know that there's no actual Candy Mountain, right?
Shun the non-believer. Shun.
Yeah.
It has spoken. It has told us the way.
It didn't say anything.
It's just over this bridge, Charlie. This magical
Potion Cellar?
bridge.
I can pull up
Hope and
Potion
wonder.
Cellar. That can be
Is
the
anyone
last
else
one we
getting,
do.
like, covered in splinters? Seriously, guys, we shouldn't be on this thing.
Charlie.
I cannot believe you guys haven't seen this.
Charlie. Charlie. Charlie.
I'm right here. What do you want?
We're on a bridge, Charlie. We're here.
Well, what do you know? There actually is a Candy Mountain.
Candy Mountain, Candy Mountain. You fill me with sweet, sugary goodness. Go inside the Candy Mountain cave.
It feels like it was written by Charlie from Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Charlie. Yeah, Charlie. Go inside the cave. Magical wonders are to behold when you enter.
Yeah, thanks, but no thanks. I'm gonna stay out.
Yeah, I mean, as you'll see, it's very obvious that I'm watching Film Cow's YouTube channel, whereas in Musa's whole thing, he's like, well, I mean, it's in the video.
Yeah.
But you have to enter the Candy Mountain Candy Cave, Charlie.
I forgot about the dancing letters.
Oh, when you're down and looking for some cheering up, then just head right on up to the Candy Mountain Cave. When you get inside, you'll find yourself a cheery land, such a happy and joy-filled and perky merry land. They've got lollipops and gummy drops and candy things, oh, so many things that will brighten up your day. It's impossible to wear a frown in Candy Town. It's the mecca of love, the Candy Cave. They've got jelly beans and coconuts with little hats, candy rats, chocolate bats. It's a wonderland of sweets. Ride the candy train to town and hear the candy band, candy bells. It's a treat as they march across the land. Cherry ribbons stream across the sky into the ground. Turn around, it astounds. It's a dancing candy tree. In the candy cave, imagination runs so free. So now, Charlie, please will you go into the cave?
All right, fine. I'll go into the freaking candy cave. This had better be good.
Yeah.
Goodbye, Charlie.
Goodbye, Charlie. Goodbye, Charlie.
Goodbye? What? Hey, what's going on here? Hello? Who is that? Oh, what happened? Oh,
they took my freaking kidney. God, that one and, what was the other one? Potion Seller, right? If you guys haven't seen Potion Seller, it's clearly just one dude who was playing around with, like, just, I don't even... Hang on, well...
Hello, Potion Seller. I am going into battle, and I want your strongest potions. My potions are too strong for you, traveler. Potion Seller, I tell you I'm going into battle, and I want only your strongest potions. You can't handle my potions. They're too strong for you. Potion Seller, listen to me.
Yeah, Chad, we're way deep into the stream. Never come into the stream this late and expect it to still be on topic.
Only your strongest potions. My potions will kill you, traveler. You cannot handle my potions. Potion Seller, enough of these games. I'm going into battle. and I need your strongest potions. My strongest potions will kill you, traveler. You can't handle my strongest potions. You better go to a cellar that sells weaker potions. Potion Seller, I'm telling you right now, I'm going into battle, and I need only your strongest potions. You don't know what you ask, traveler. My strongest potions will kill a dragon, let alone a man. You need a cellar that sells weaker potions.
I want so badly for The Witcher to find a way to integrate this into the lore.
Because my potions are too strong. Potion Seller, I'm telling you I need your strongest potions. I'm going into battle. I'm going to battle and I need your strongest potions. You can't handle my strongest potions. No one can. My strongest potions are fit for a beast, let alone a man.
He gets so upset.
Potion Seller, what do I have to tell you to get your potions? Why won't you trust me with your strongest potions?
Also, like, it's so funny because this man is so goddamn vascular.
Potion Seller, I need them if I'm to be successful in the battle. I can't give you my strongest potions because my strongest potions are only for the strongest beings and you are of the weakest. Well, then that's it, Potion Seller. I'll go elsewhere. I'll go elsewhere for my potions. That's what you'd better do. I'll go elsewhere for my potions and I'll never come back. Good. You're not welcome here. My potions are only for the strongest and you're clearly not of the strongest. You're clearly the weakest.
I love that one. My potions are for the strongest, and you are clearly not of the strongest. You are of the weakest.
You've had your say potion, Sarah, but I'll have mine. You're a rascal. You're a rascal with no respect for knights. No respect for anything except your potions. Why respect knights when my potions can do anything that you can?
Yeah, that's one of the classics. But that is gonna be it for the night, because it is now beyond when the stream is supposed to go to. So, thank you guys so much for hanging out. You know, this was a fun one. Definitely went a little all over the place, but you know how it goes. I'm gonna be honest, Pumpkin Bear, I'm probably never gonna finish Nigel and Marmalade because it evokes a deep feeling of rage that I cannot actually explain. I just simply don't like it. Like, I don't diss anybody for liking it, but it made me want to punch my screen every time Nigel talked. I'm not saying it's bad, just for some reason, it causes fury within my soul. So, next stream is going to be Thursday. It is either going to be a Far Cry stream or a Lethal Company stream. And then Friday will be either Lethal Company or Call of Duty. If it's Call of Duty, it will be zombies. If it is Lethal Company, then it'll be Lethal Company. There are mods for Lethal Company that allow you to have more players. Also, Steam's having a huge sale right now, so if now this is the time to get stuff. Yeah, so Community Hub, view Community Hub. Yeah, maybe if we go up and snag this really quick. Lethal Company, more players mod. Bigger lobby, up to 20 people. Oh my god. Oh my god. We probably won't do one that big, but if we can get, you know, if we can get a significant number in, we certainly will. I do have one clip of us playing.
Oh my god, you fucking idiot!
There we go. Okay, wait, where'd it, it's saved on my computer somewhere. I don't know where it went. Here we go.
No. Oh my god, you fucking idiot!
Here, I'll show you one unedited Lethal Company clip that we have so far. If I could find Streamlabs again. Here we go. Here it is.
Ordered stuff. That's an arriving.
Oh shit!
I said don't take off.
Open the door! Open the door!
This is a singular clip from the Lethal Company streams that has not even been edited yet. So the game is hilarious. We've been having a great time with it, and PJ is currently working on putting together some like videos that'll go up on the channel, and probably our first channel videos that are edited will be Lethal Company. So I'm very excited about that, and I will. Oh, I forgot to post in the Discord that I was streaming. My bad. Yeah, it's probably better for this channel to just hit the YouTube notification button. Also, I'm sorry that Ellis seems to be having an entire monologue behind me. I don't know what that's about, but I will see all of you guys on Thursday. Bye, guys.